Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to today's webinar. Today's webinar is going to be on the CMS portion of BNI Connect, or really the function that allows you to edit and update your chapter web pages. So every single chapter in BNI, that is on BNI Connect anyway, has a free chapter website. Now, it is a branded website, so it is template driven, meaning it has all of the BNI logos in there and everything for you. It pulls a lot of the information directly from BNI Connect, like your speaker rotation and your roster. All of that part is updated automatically by the system. You don't have to do anything at all for that. But if you'd like to customize the words and the pictures and put up photos, things like that, you can do that all through the chapter websites. And today is going to be about a half hour of content, and it is a very basic level introduction to the CMS editor, to the chapter websites in BNI Connect. This webinar, just a couple of housekeeping things, this webinar is live, so if you do have questions as we're going through the webinar today, please do feel free to ask them. I'm happy to answer questions both as we're going along or at the end. Even though we're scheduled for a half hour, I am always happy to stay on these webinars until all of your questions are answered. In addition, this webinar is being recorded, so it will be made available on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, and you can find all of our recorded content up here. You can also find all of this on the support site. So if you go to support.bniconnect.com, down in the bottom there's a training section, and you'll see a category called webinars. And they're separated out by month here, so you can look at them in chronological order. But just about every month we do have a Maintaining Your Chapter website, so you can review those, or in a couple of days this one will be available up there as well. All right, so let's get going. Let's take a look at these chapter websites. So what are the chapter websites? Let me go to my own regional website, which is Rhode Island. I am a member as well as a director here in the Rhode Island area, and this is our regional website. Now, within the regional websites, you can go to find a chapter, and let's just say I'm looking for all the chapters in our region, and these are all the chapters. I'm just going to randomly click on a chapter here. And let me choose mine. So this is our BNI Wakefield chapter, and if I click on Visit Chapter Website, this will take us to the web page for our chapter. Now, our chapter, this website, is mostly an out-of-the-box website. So we haven't really done much to customize the verbiage here. What I did do was add our Facebook page on here as a link. But you can see some of the information is automatically pulled from the system. So over here on the left-hand side, it has all of our chapter information and leadership team information. It has a current member count, lets you know who the leadership team is, as well as who the director is for the chapter, as well as a way to get in touch with them. So let's say somebody's coming to visit the chapter, for example. So Trish says, I'm seeing only your page, intro page, not seeing the sample. So is everybody seeing the BNI Wakefield web page right now? That's where we should be. All right, so it looks like we're good. So as I was saying, over here on the left-hand side, that is automatically pulled from the system. The stuff here in the middle is what you can customize. Now, on the bottom, you'll also see our chapter speakers. That is also automatically pulled from the system as long as your secretary-treasurer is entering the speaker rotation into BNI Connect. There's also a chapter members page. So again, this is going to list all of the membership in your chapter. And for each member, let's say we click on my name, each member has their very own page as well. And again, all of this information is automatically pulled out of BNI Connect. One of the advantages of using the BNI Connect website as opposed to going out and designing your own on your own server somewhere would be that there's much less maintenance involved with this. Again, as members leave, as members join, they only have to update their profile information in one place, and it will pull all the information. There's also a third page available. It's traditionally a chapter gallery. I just turned mine into the BNI news feed that automatically pulls the RSS feed from BNI. But again, you could do this with company photos. You can put pictures up here. Some have turned this into a blog style page. And again, some people have done some great things with these pages. These are Google indexed, by the way. So there's one out there called Mill River BNI. This is in Massachusetts. And you can see it comes right up on the top of the Google page. And you can see they customized theirs a little bit. They added their Twitter handle as well. They also added a map to their chapter. They turned their gallery page into a chapter news. And you can see that they have done more of a highlight blog style section for their page. So how do we access and make all these types of edits? Well, the way to do that is through the CMS editor. So the first thing you need to do is log into BNI Connect. And this will take us to our home page here. The place to access the websites is through Tools. So you should see a Tools menu here if you are a chapter webmaster or if you're a director or an executive director with the appropriate level of access. If you do not see this Tools menu, it means that first you need to go to your regional office and ask them to please assign you as a chapter webmaster. Once they have done that, then this Tools menu will appear for you. Then you're going to go to CMS and go to Chapter Websites. Now, I know we have a couple of executive directors on the call as well. Executive directors, most of the stuff that you're going to learn today, you can apply to your region websites as well. The process is still the same. As a chapter webmaster, you're going to go to Chapter Websites. Now, what you'll see listed here is all of the chapter websites that you have access to. You can actually become a chapter webmaster. Let's say that you own a web programming company and your executive director is looking for additional help. You can actually manage multiple chapter websites. And you would see all of the ones here that you have access to. So you can see all the sites listed on the left-hand side. You can see the chapter that they're associated with. And you can see the last time that they were modified. In order to get in and start editing one of these sites, we're going to click the Edit button here. So I'm going to go, I'm in my test region right now up in Antarctica. I'm going to go ahead and edit the Frozen Assets website. So I'm going to click the Edit button. And this will take us into the website management page. I'm going to go through and show you what each of these things on the page are. This first page here lists all the pages that are available for editing. Now, right now, the chapter web pages are limited to the pages that are available here. It has been requested for possibly a future release that you can add additional pages, but for now, it's just the pages that are listed here. You can see the page name. Then you can see when there's a little arrow here, we have subsections of those pages or sub-pages. And then another page here. Some of the things you can do is you can edit the name of those pages. You can add meta tags, or you can edit the page itself. Now you can also see on the gallery page there's a special option here because you can either hide or show that page. The button says show, so that means that the page is hidden right now. You also have tabs along the top up here. So we have the Pages tab. We have the Library tab and the Site Information tab. Let's take a look at the Library tab. Now, when you're working with websites, what the library is all of the images that you want to display on your website. So let's say pictures of your chapter or photographs of a recent event that you had, or just maybe it's materials that you want to put on the site. All of those things have to be transferred from your computer up into the BNI Connect servers before you can put them on the site. And that's what this library is for. The library is the place where you're going to put those files before you put them on the website. It's really easy to do. So there's 3 types of files you can have on the site. You can have images, so PNG files, JPEG files, GIF files. You can have documents, if you'd like to put a Word document or a PDF file up there for people to be able to download. You can also put Flash objects. The process is the same for getting the files up there. I'm just going to be on the Images tab, and I'm going to click Upload. I need to search my computer for the file that I'd like to put up on the BNI Connect servers by clicking the magnifying glass. Now I just need to go find a file. So let's say that I would like to put one of these pictures up there. Let me see. Let me go to the find a logo up here. I'm going to put this BNI Connect online training logo up here because I'd like to put that on the website somewhere. So it tells me the name of the file. It's ready to upload, and click Upload. Now we can see this file in my images library. If I'd like to add another one, I can just click the Upload button again, click the magnifying glass, and let's say I would like to put this traffic light up there as well. It's ready to upload. Click the Upload button, and now it is up there. When you're done with a file, let's say that you no longer need it on your website, if you'd like to clean it up, you can always check it and then click the Delete button. Documents and Flash objects are the exact same way. The next page is the Site Information tab. And what the Site Information tab is, there is some additional customizations you can do on the back end of your site. For example, the chapter folder name. What this is the subdirectory that people will type when they want to get to your chapter. So right now you can see that if somebody wants to get to the Frozen Assets chapter webpage directly without going to find a chapter first, what they need to do is type into their browser antarcticreferrals.com/shiver-region-frozen-assets. That's the default generated name. It's always going to put your region's name and then the chapter name with dashes between it. Now that's kind of a mouthful. So if we want to make it easier for people to get to our chapter site, we can do that. We can rename that directory that they're going to go to. So let's say I just want it to be Frozen Assets. That way people can just go to antarcticreferrals.com/frozen-assets. Now we can't change the tagline. That's what's going to appear under your chapter name on the site, because that is a branded theme for BNI. Now the buttons you can change. Let me show you what these buttons look like, and let me go back to my own chapter website here. That's these 3 buttons up in the upper right-hand corner. These 3 buttons, you can rename them, though before you do so, I would highly recommend talking to your executive director or possibly the regional admin for your office. In order to maintain consistency, it would be great if all of the chapters in the region do have the same thing. So before you go ahead and change these, please do talk to your executive director. But some regions, for example, instead of saying members only, they would have something like BNI Connect here. If you'd like to track your website usage, you can put in an analytics code here as well. So you do need to sign up yourself, or your region may have a Google Analytics account or any other analytic provider. You just need to paste the code in here, and you will be able to track the usage of your website. If you have made any changes on here, please do make sure to click the Update button. And there we go. So this will bring us back to our main page. Now let's just take a look at some of the things that you can do here. We have 3 different options: edit name, edit meta tags, and edit content. So what do those do? So the home page, you can change the name of your home page. So if I go to my preview site right here, we can see this button up here that says Home. Now, let's say that you don't want it to say Home. You'd like it to say our chapter or something like that. You can change the name there. You can do that by clicking on Edit Name, and maybe you want to call this maybe About Our Chapter. That way, when people go to your home page, they would see an About Our Chapter link instead of Home. And you could do the same thing with chapter members if you'd like to. If you'd like to call that business associates or something like that, you can change the name there. Now, meta tags will help with the Google Analytics and, well, actually the Google searching and the search results. It's kind of a search engine optimization thing. So this is an art form in and of itself. So definitely seek out the search engine optimization person in your chapter or in your region for some tips and tricks on entering good keywords, meta tags, and a description that will get the search engines finding you a little bit better. Now, before we go ahead and edit the content, what I'd like to say is that there's actually two sites for your chapter. There's what's called a preview site, and then there's a live site. The way that most websites work is that you can be working on a copy of your web page in the background while everybody else is looking at a different page. That way you can make your changes at your own speed and not worry that other people are going to be seeing your mistakes or things in progress when you're not ready for them to see it. And you can see that down here with two different links. We have the preview URL and we have the live URL. So you notice if I click the preview URL here, you'll see the About Our Chapter change that we made. If I go to our live URL, and this is because I changed the name of it, it would still show home. So all of the changes that I'm making aren't going to happen until I take the changes, the preview site that we're working on currently, and copy them to the live site. Now, the way we do that is by clicking the Publish button. So if I go ahead and click Publish now, what it's doing is taking the preview site and overwriting the live site. So now if I click on the live site button, you'll see now the live site also shows About Our Chapter. Let's go into the meat and potatoes of this and look at how we actually edit the stuff that's on our site. We do that by clicking on the Edit Content button. And this will open up a new window. So if nothing pops up when you click that button, check your pop-up blocker. We have seen that here in support in the past. This will show you all of the things that you can change on your site. What we'll see here is the yellow bar along the top. It'll just tell us what page we're on. So we're on the page, AntarcticReferrals.com, the About Our Chapter page. You'll also see some buttons over on the right-hand side. This button says we're using the library images, which means the images that you've uploaded into the system. There's also a common library that has some stock photography in there if you'd like to use any of those. You can get to the other library by just clicking this button. This will bring us over to the common library. And if we click it again, it will bring us back to your library. The preview site will allow you to preview the changes that you've made. Save obviously saves it, and close will bring us back to the previous menu. Now you notice the left-hand column, again, that's all populated automatically by the system, so there's nothing that you can change there. And the same thing with the bottom of the page. We have the chapter speakers. That is automatically populated by BNI Connect. The things you can change are the things in this general section here. Now you'll notice there's rows of buttons here. This is fairly typical to any document editing software you might have used in the past with a couple of minor changes. So if you've ever created a Word document, as I'm sure most of you have, you pretty much can get the hang of editing a website as well. For those of you that are web programmers out there that are on the call, note that there is also a source button, which means that you can go directly into the HTML coding and either work in this window if you prefer it. This is also where you would have to go to do some more advanced things. So for example, I put the Facebook link on my page. You would have to go into the source code to do that. You can also embed things like iframes, and if you'd like to put YouTube videos on there or anything like that. Another good use for this is to make a backup of your website. So I'm about to make a whole bunch of changes to this site. So what I'd like to do is to make a backup. So I'm just going to do Control-A to select all. I'm going to copy it. And I'm just going to paste this into Notepad here. And that way, after I've made all my changes, I can just copy and paste that back in and put it back to the way it was before. All right, let's go through some of these buttons and see what they do. You'll notice that there is one thing here at the top. This is called a tag. And what this is doing is it's automatically pulling the thank you for closed business from your chapters POMS reports for the last 12 months. Note that this number will only change on really the first of the month because it's pulling the previous 12 months. So right now it's pulling through August 1st and the previous 12 months before that. So on September 1st, I will see this number change automatically again for my own chapter. Now there are a couple of templates that you can use if you don't like this one. You can go in and change the template. The next group of buttons are fairly typical for all Word editors. So as you're making changes, there is, of course, an undo button and a redo button. There's the cut, copy, and paste options. Now, the next two options you probably haven't seen in most like Microsoft Word editors or anything like that. And this is paste as plain text and paste from Word. And the reason that we have these is if you're taking content from another site or from a Word document because you don't want to retype everything, what this does is it kind of strips all the extra baggage that a lot of these other programs bring with it and just puts it in just takes the text and copies it over. So if you are copying things from another place, rather than try to recreate the font and all those things, it's best to use this paste as plain text or paste from Word. Next option is just find and replace. So you can find things on your site, and you can also replace them if you have misspellings or you'd like to change words throughout your entire page. And again, select all, and then there's also remove formatting. So if you've gone through and you've started making a bunch of changes with bold and italics and underlines and strike-throughs and things like that, and you'd like to just get it back to the default font so that everything's traditional again, just click the remove formatting. It'll set the font back to the normal size. It'll remove all the colors and text additions to that as well. The next allow you to create forms. So let's say that you'd like to capture visitor information or things like that. You can do that through the use of forms. Now, this is a little bit more than I can get into in today's webinar, but just keep in mind that it will allow you to create forms. And those forms can include things like checkboxes. It can include, text entry fields, drop-down boxes, and things like that. You will need to host the coding on another server if you're capturing information. But just know that the possibility is there to do that. The next group of buttons here, you can maximize the screen. Now, if you're working in this WYSIWYG editor, this actually may not be all that helpful because it will kind of mess up the way things look as far as seeing how the paragraphs line up. But it is very helpful if you happen to be working in the source code. You can also show the blocks. So a lot of people like to see where the paragraph markers are and things like that. and that's what this next one will do. So it'll show you where all the breaks are and the splits. So superscript and subscript, when you're typing something in like the first, you can make a superscript out of that. And these are all common formatting buttons. So of course you can do the bolds, you can do the italics, you can underline things, and you can even do strike-throughs. It also supports numbered lists. As well as bulleted lists. You can increase and decrease indents. And if you want to, you can also add block quoting. Some more common things from a Microsoft Word or any other program like that. We can left justify, center justify, right justify, or full justify. Now the next set of commands is where we're starting to get a little bit more into web-based commands. So the next two buttons are link and unlink. And where these come in helpful is, let's say that you wanted to bring somebody to another website, for example. So you'd like to link to someplace outside of this particular page. You can do that. Let's say that we want to say, visit the BNI HQ site. And we want those words, when people click on them, to bring them to BNI.com. We click hyperlink and just type in www.bni.com. Or if we say, visit our Facebook page, we can link that to facebook.com and whatever your page is. If you'd like to unlink that, you can do that as well. Let's say you don't want it to link there anymore, just click the unlink button and it will remove the link from those words. Now anchors are, if your site gets really long, so you have a ton of lines on there, or some people do this with, let's say, an FAQ type page, you can link to an anchor point on the page. So you would have something like a question up at the top. People would click on the question and it would bring them down to an anchor that would have the answer. So remember those images that we uploaded before we started editing the page. That's what this image button is. So we click on the image button, and now we can put the picture that we uploaded into the server into the website. We click on Browse Server. Now this will have some common stock, and you can see that it has the 2 pictures that I uploaded as well. So if I'd like to put this online training picture in there, it's a pretty big picture there, so maybe I want to make it a little bit smaller. I can do that. And click OK. And now this picture is on the website. Now you can also link pictures. So if I want somebody to go to the support site when they click on this picture, I can link this, and let's say I want them to go to our YouTube channel for more online training. I can do that as well. And you can see I sent them to the YouTube/BNI Connect Global. And you can also insert your Flash objects. You can set up tables and insert some lines into the website as well as some emoticons. And here's where all those little special characters are hidden. So if you need to put in a registered trademark or a copyright symbol, you can grab those from here. You can change your font styles, of course. Now, changing fonts, you can use different fonts. My recommendation is the branded font for BNI is Arial. So if you can keep the majority of your text to Arial, your regions will greatly appreciate it. But you can also change the size and, of course, the colors of the text as well as the background colors. So now that you've made this new, gorgeous, beautiful site, you can go ahead and save it. This will bring you to the preview page. And when you're satisfied with the results, just click Close. Now remember, there's still one more step. We have the preview site, which will show us what we were working on. But if we go to the live site, remember that it's not quite displayed to the public yet. In order to get the rest of the world to see the wonderful work that we just did, we do need to click the Publish button. Now, publishing is going to take anywhere from a couple of seconds. For larger sites, especially for regional websites, that could take anywhere from a minute to 10 minutes or longer, depending on how many graphics and other things are on your site. But now, when we go to antarcticreferrals.com/frozen assets, we can see our glorious new chapter site. So that concludes the basics of entering and editing your chapter websites. As I said, I am always happy to stay on this call. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time. While you're thinking of any of your questions, just a reminder, this will be posted on our YouTube site within a day or two. That is, again, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. That is where we have hundreds of videos of all the recorded webinars that we've done, including some new messages from Dr. Meisner as well. If you could also, I would love it if you could give us a like on our Facebook site as well, which is facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. We do things like webinar announcements and tips and tricks and reminders and all sorts of things up on our BNI Connect Facebook page as well. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always go to the support site. Just click the little question mark here in BNI Connect, the help button, and that will take you to our support site. We have tons and tons of documentation up here, self-help forums, suggestions forums, and of course, if you have any questions, you can always submit a request as well. All right, so it looks like we have a couple of questions. Let me see what we have here. Gina says, what other tags are available and where can we see a list? Right now, the only tag that's available is the thank you for closed business. If you have any suggestions for additional tags that you might like to see, please put that in as a suggestion on the support site, and we'd be happy to run that by the project board and see if we can get some additional tags on the website. But right now, the thank you for closed business is the only tag available on the site. Trish said, thank you, amazing detail, very helpful. You are most welcome, Trish. Let's see, Christy says, very helpful. Does this have an auto draft preview feature? So again, as you're in the editor, and let me see if I can get back to the editor there. And let me get back in and edit one of the sites here. When you're in the edit content page, if you start making some changes and you'd just like to preview those changes, you click the preview button here, and that's an instant preview, and you can immediately go back to the edit page there. So you can go back and forth between preview, edit, without saving or without publishing. Does that answer your question, Christy? All right, Trish says, are there any conventions or naming standards for the chapter names that we use to replace the long default URL address? Right now, my suggestion is you keep it to the chapter name, just removing the region name and the dashes and things like that. But other than that, there are no other real conventions, no technical conventions or requirements. Obviously, it can't have any special characters in it or anything else that would not be accepted as a web address. It also does have to be it has to be unique. So especially if you have chapters in multiple regions within the area. It has to be unique per region website. So I know that there's probably a founders chapter, for example, in just about every region in the United States. You can have a /founders link as long as it's in different regional websites. Let's see. Betsabe says, I would like to know how to be a member in Costa Rica. I'll tell you what, if you send me an email at support@bniconnect.com, I'd be happy to get you in touch with the right person. You can also go to bni.com and click on Find a Chapter and click on the Costa Rican area, and that will take you to the regional website. I think the regional website is bnicostarica.com, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, yeah, it doesn't look like they are up yet. I know that there is one chapter in Costa Rica, that they're still growing there. So I can try to get you in touch with the right person. Just shoot me an email. Trish says, will you be saying anything about Meetup or the other social networking? I'm looking in. Yeah, as this is, today's webinar is just strictly on the chapter websites. As far as using other things like Meetup and Facebook and any other social media platforms, those come with their own trials and tribulations, as well as definitely talk with headquarters about those various tools and how they fit in with branding standards and things like that. I know that Susan Goodsell is a good person to talk to at headquarters regarding some of the things working specifically with social media. That was the last question. Does anybody else have any questions whatsoever? I'd be happy to answer those questions now, whether it's on the chapter websites or anything else about BNI Connect. I'd be happy to answer those questions. All right, if there's no additional questions, I would like to thank everybody for their time today. Just a reminder, our very next webinar is going to be on Thursday, and that is at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on the member tools and reports. So you can go to the support site, and this will take you there. You can link to register right there. We're going to be talking about a ton of things that's in the member-only portion of BNI Connect to make your member experience, and in some cases your director experience, even more profitable and better. So please do join us on Thursday. The recording will be up on YouTube /BNI Connect Global shortly, as well as the support site, and please do give us a like on Facebook as well. Again, thank you everybody for being here today. I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. If you did think this was a good webinar, a good referral for me is to please go back to your regions, go back to your chapters, your fellow members, and let them know about these webinars. Have a great day, everybody. Happy connecting.